Mr. Chairman, and to the committee for allowing me to join today's hearing. This bill is a step in the right direction, and it will prevent future activist administrations from using agency rules and regs and executive orders to circumvent Congress and hamper energy exploration. So it's something we need to address. I just wanted to remind the committee once again, as my learned colleague from Louisiana always does, that Louisiana has been leading the nation in energy exploration and production for decades. And with this in mind, it's vital that this committee take very seriously the past commitments that Washington's made to cost-sharing programs like OMESA, as has been discussed today, that provide essential funding for coastal restoration and conservation projects to Gulf-producing states. Louisiana's contributions related to oil and gas production has had a major economic impact, obviously on our state, but certainly on the nation. Louisiana continues to provide thousands of good, high-paying jobs and is a leading contributor to energy-related cost savings to consumers and is at the forefront of safe technological advancements that are good for both the environment and the industry. I look forward to working with my colleagues to see that past wrongs to my state are rectified and that Louisiana's contributions over the years to energy independence are not forgotten as we move forward in providing similar opportunities in energy to non-Gulf states. I'm proud to report that the committee understands the serious regulatory impediments imposed by duplicative processes and has opted to include my bill, the SEA Act, in the underlying bill in full. We're grateful for that. The SEA Act streamlines the Marine Mammal Protection Act, MMPA, in that permitting process and establishes firm guidelines for agency decisions, eliminates duplicative requirements between the MMPA and the Endangered Species Act, promotes sound science in agency decision-making, and permits the renewal of incidental harassment authorizations. The inclusion of this provision will eliminate much of the red tape that's held up scientifically supported and safe exploration processes in previous administrations. And this will mean more jobs created, a much-needed economic stimulus, and a continued reduction in energy costs passed on to consumers. My legislation included in today's bill takes necessary steps to apply common sense throughout the federal government, which will reduce ambiguity and create certainty in the application of the MMPA and its legal standards, because we're going to enhance procedural efficiency. Mr. Holt, in your testimony, you highlighted the milestones in American energy that have allowed us to be both a good steward of the environment and provide for our nation's growing energy needs. And as you may know, back in my district, this is Northwest Louisiana, we're experiencing and witnessing the resurgence of the Haynesville Shale, which we're delighted about. And it's thanks in large part to the technological advances that have been made in both safe and cost-effective energy production to tap into those natural resources and provide truly affordable energy to the community. That said, I wanted to thank you for elaborating on all that, because it's often understated, and I think that's unfortunate. These advancements are felt in real time by the hardworking moms and dads who are providing for their families and are living paycheck to paycheck in so many cases. Professor Smith, thank you for being here and representing Louisiana well, and showing that our national energy plan puts our country on a path to energy dominance. That's the president's word now, and I like that better than energy independent, energy dominance, and that strengthens ultimately our national security. One question for you, Mr. Holt, short time I have. There's a lot of duplicative regulatory processes, I think, throughout the federal labyrinth of regs. Would you suggest there are other places that we could examine to expedite the reasonable exploration and promotion of our natural resources in areas that still need to be tapped?
You know, absolutely. I think, you know, not only do we have duplicative regulations from the state and federal level, but within the federal government, you have multiple agencies that have overlapping authority over energy and energy production. So looking at, and there have been over time, different time periods that attempts at collaborative committees that have come together between Department of Energy, Department of Interior, other places like that, looking at those overlapping regulations, redundant regulations within the federal government, which I think this bill starts to do, but that is a vital issue that should be addressed and could give industry a much more coherent, consistent path forward so they understand where investments need to be made.
I just want to say to all the witnesses, we really appreciate your time and expertise today. And on that subject, I think it'll be a continuing theme in this Congress, the 115th, and with the administration, that we want to reduce that red tape. We've shown that we're doing that already. This bill's part of it. That's going to be a continuing theme. And to the extent that you all have good ideas on how to do that, bring it to us. And I think you'll have willing voices and persons on this committee and in the whole Congress that'll help us to do that further. ultimately, again, for the best interest of the whole nation. Mr. Chairman, I yield back and appreciate the time. Thanks again.